All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be in the 154-pound division, talking about Errol Spence Jr.'s next fight with Keith Thurman, which still has not been announced, and also a statement that Errol Spence Jr. had made about willingness to fight Charlo. Let's make it happen. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 154-pound division where Errol Spence Jr., according to reports, will be making his appearance against Keith one-time Thurman. Unfortunately, though, no announcement to date has been made, and Errol Spence Jr. has yet to confirm that that's what he's looking to do. And also, Keith Thurman has not verified that that fight is next for him, hasn't said anything, complete media blackout for the most part by both of them, and questions about what will take place at the end of the year with Charlo, who Errol Spence Jr. says that he is willing to fight. Now, before I get into that, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. Thank you so much to everybody that supports the channel in the live streams and in the videos that we do, and thank you specifically to people that support in the super thanks, which is a $sign and a heart right below. That's how you support content creators like myself. Definitely is how you keep these little shiny things on. So thank you guys so much for your support. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video. Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, Errol Spence Jr. is the 147-pound WBC, WBA, and IBF champion. Unfortunately, he was not able to have the fight that everybody wanted to see him have, which was Terence, a fight with Terence Crawford, the WBO champion. So his dream of being an undisputed champion was deferred. I am of the opinion rather, that that is because Terence Crawford did not want the fight. The reason I say that is because Terence Crawford turned down the fight, and also Terence Crawford said out of his mouth that he does not want the fight. So I have a very hard time with people that trying to come up with all these reasons why to justify Terence Crawford doing that. But whether you justify or you don't do it, Terence Crawford said it and he did it, and we didn't get the fight. Now, Errol Spence Jr., according to reports, is moving to 154, but we may actually have some good news. And people familiar with my channel and my take on this matter, I have been very, very consistent that the biggest fight for Errol Spence Jr. that is makeable now, aside from the Terence, that's makeable now because Terence Crawford ain't gonna fight him, is the fight with Charlo. And that fight is a very realistic fight to take place. However, before we get that, and I'm definitely going to discuss that because you guys are going to tell me that that fight can't happen, but Errol Spence Jr. said, and I listened to it last night, I listened to both times in which he said that, which said that he is not discounting fighting anybody at 154 pounds for those belts. The question is whether or not there's going to be enough money in it for Charlo to do it, because even Charlo said, hey, if you're paying me ridiculous amounts of money, I'll do it. Right. But that's my brother. You have to pay me a lot of money in order to have that fight. Right. However, first things first is the fight with Keith Thurman, which is going to be, if they have it, and I'm telling you, if they have it, we've all been jumping the gun on the fact that this thing is going to actually happen. And that the fight is going to, but if it does happen, it's supposed to happen at 154 pounds. That is, I do believe, a very, very, very solid fight for Errol Spence Jr. A lot of people are pishon on the fight, but I'm telling you, look, man, Don't turn around if Keith Thurman puts up a good fight against Errol Spence Jr., goes the distance and loses the fight. Don't turn around and talk about how Errol Spence Jr. is whack because he should have destroyed Keith Thurman, because you just didn't want to give Keith Thurman any credit for him being a very, very good fighter. Fact of the matter is, Keith Thurman has lost one fight against Manny Pacquiao. And in my personal opinion, I think there's an argument that he could have won that fight if he had not been knocked down. Pretty much the big thing on Keith Thurman is that he's been hurt by some body shots, which people are just assuming to mean that because Errol Spence Jr. walks in the ring, this man is going to fold as soon as he gets hit with a body shot. When people know things are coming and they're prepared for things coming, you have a better ability and resistance to be able to deal with those problems that you know are coming. And Keith Thurman knows that those body shots are coming. Now, he very well may get whitewashed. He may very well wind up getting stopped. But that doesn't mean that Keith Thurman is not a legitimate fighter. Doesn't mean that. It just means that Errol Spence Jr. is a very, very good one that wore him out and got him out of there. But whatever, no matter what the scenario is for Errol Spence Jr. in that particular fight, a lot of you guys are not going to give him any credit for it because you guys are already dumping all over the fight. Strangely enough, have very little dumping to do on a fight that took place between Terence Crawford and David Avenesian, where you knew, 100% know what the outcome of that fight was going to be as soon as you heard the guy's name that he fought, and without a doubt knew the outcome of that was going to be knockout 6-8. 100%, because David Avenesian had been knocked out by somebody that Errol Spence Jr. had already knocked out. He'd already been beaten by Lamont. I do believe David Avenesian was beaten by Lamont Peterson. He's just not on that level of fight, the same level as Keith Thurman. If you look at David Avenesian and you look at Keith Thurman, those are way two different level fighters. But like I said, it's still not guaranteed that fight will happen. But as far as Jermall Charlo is, man, we got some interesting things going on, because you have, and hopefully Kamal Oz is listening to this particular video at this point, because I'm bringing up a subject that Kamal Oz, shout out to you, brother, always wanted me to talk about, which is that Tony Harrison is now going to be fighting Tim Tszyu. And the winner of that fight of Tim Tszyu, Tony Harrison, which will take place in Australia, which means, hey, man, it's probably going to be Tim Tszyu, because they very well may rip him off. Rip him off down there, even if Tony Harrison wins. If that fight was in the United States, I would favor Tony Harrison to win that fight, because I think Tony Harrison is just a better fighter than Tim Tszyu is. Tim Tszyu is big, he's strong and all that, but that could very well lead to a rematch between Jermell Charlo and Tony Harrison, which I think would be just an electric situation. And in that point of view, the winner of that, very well, by the time that takes place, if Errol beats Keith Thurman and moves up in weight, very well may be able to get Errol Spence Jr. versus the winner of that fight, especially if the winner of that fight is Tony Harrison. But if the fight is Jermell Charlo, dude, I'm telling you, that is the fight that I want. That is, I think, the fight that would replace the Terence Crawford fight as far as the level of excitement and interest that it would have with boxing fans. And the only unfortunate thing, I don't know how you want to phrase that, is that they have the same trainer. But if they didn't have the same trainer, this would be a no-brainer. It would be, the 3-belt holder at 147 move up and fight the undisputed champion at 154. Like, the only reason that people do not try to push for this fight is because they're in the same gym. But I've told you, I'm going to tell you, and I think in this regard, I have something in common with Errol Spence Jr. I'm sadistic. So I don't really care. I just say, hey, man, Derek James, trainer of the year, you're going to have to pick a side for that one, my man. You're just going to have to pick a side for that one. It just is what it is. But, hopefully we can get to that. I understand a lot of people are doubting very, very much whether you can. But at the same time, what in the world is going to go on at 154 pounds with Errol there and Jermell with all the belts? And if Jermell goes up to 160 pounds, I mean, I guess he could say, I'm okay with I'm okay with not being undisputed, but the way they've got those belts divided between Janabek and Gennady Golovkin and Jamal Charlo, Jamal would probably obviously move up, and I do believe he is going to move up when he comes back. I'm not buying all that. He's got mental health issues and never going to fight again stuff. I'm not buying that, man. He's probably a little bit down and disgruntled about boxing because he couldn't get a Canelo Alvarez fight, but people tend to find their ways around that. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.